Russia now says that it has deported nearly 1 million Ukrainians to its territory.
Here's a summary of the article.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has said that more than 951,000 Ukrainians have been deported to Russia since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. According to Ukrinform, this was reported by Interfax, with reference to Mikhail Mizintsev, the head of Russia's National Defense Management Center. According to him, over the past 24 hours, without the participation of the Ukrainian authorities, 16,838 people were evacuated to Russia from dangerous regions of Ukraine, certain areas of the Donetsk and Lugansk regions, including 1,402 children. In total, since the start of the war, there have already been 951,329 people, including 174,689 children. Earlier reports said that at 2200 on April 23, Ukraine's air defense forces shot down 2 Russian cruise missiles flying in the direction of the port of Pivdeny in the Odessa region. On February 24, Russia launched a new phase of its 8-year war against Ukraine, a full-scale invasion. The enemy is shelling and bombing peaceful Ukrainian cities, towns and villages. The armed forces, the territorial defense forces and the entire Ukrainian people are effectively resisting the Russian troops and inflicting heavy losses on them.
This post received a score of 22,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Kidnapped would probably be more accurate term.
Or abducted.
Genocide without visible dead bodies.
Sadly, there are visible dead in the streets as well. Crimes against humanity, wherever you look.
Russia admits to ethnic cleansing and war crimes.
Russia has never faced real consequences for ethnic cleansing at any point in history, so they probably don't feel the need to hide this one either.
Soviets did the same thing to all of the occupied countries, but I never saw anyone other than those countries as much as mention it.
Catherine the Great sent thousands of Swedes from an island in Estonia to southern Ukraine. The survivors of the Death March arrived to find nothing prepared for them and proceeded to found Gammal Svensk by, which still has a few Swedish-speaking inhabitants to this day.
Literally, Old Swedish Town, in Swedish. Neat how it nearly sounds Slavic. Replace deported with kidnapped, and add as hostages to end of headline.
Russia's population is declining. Abducting 1 million+ people is a good way to fill out the shrinking small villages in central and eastern Russia. They did this with the Baltic states in the 50s and they're doing it with Ukrainians now. Send the Ukrainians out east, and move ethnic Russians to the newly conquered territory. It's a way to essentially absorb a population into territory where they have no logistical means to escape from, while ensuring you have a population that supports your cause in the new lands. It's imperialism 101, and empires have been doing this for thousands of years.
Greater than move ethnic Russians to the newly conquered territory. Which will be interesting in its own way, since much of the newly conquered territory is absolutely flattened, housing destroyed, hospitals damaged, bridges blown, no airports, major necessities like water and electricity gone, and Russia likely won't have the resources to rebuild much. Even if I were a loyal Russian who had previously lived even in a medium-sized city, I don't think I'd want to move in such a place. Maybe someone who was already a rock farmer could survive, but that's hardly the foundation of Russia, is it?
If Russia didn't have their permanent underclass, then the core Russians near Moscow would have to do the rough work. And then, revolution. Again.
This is ethnic cleansing, that they're openly admitting to.
This is where I'm struggling to understand that it's not genocide, it's just sparkling depopulation. People. Putin and Russia have announced repeatedly for years that they don't believe Ukraine should exist as a country, and Ukrainians shouldn't exist as an identity. They've since been using the UN's definition of genocide as a to-do list ever since this invasion happened, and in many cases proudly advertising it.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.